This podcast is part of the Deluxe Edition Network. To find other great shows on the network, head over to deluxeeditionnetwork.com. That's deluxeeditionnetwork.com.
Hey everybody, this is Chase from Barrel Age Flicks. Go ahead and check out our Patreon for raw, uncut footage and early access to all of our episodes. The link is in the description, and it's only $5 a month. Thanks for listening.
Greetings, my friend. We are all interested in the future, for that is where you and I are going to spend the rest of our lives. And remember, my friend, future events such as these will affect you in the future. You are interested in the unknown, the mysterious, the unexplainable. That is why you are here. And now, for the first time, we are bringing to you the full story of what happened on that fateful day. We are giving you all the evidence based only on the secret testimony of the miserable souls who survived this terrifying ordeal. The incidents, the places. My friend, we cannot keep this a secret any longer. Let us punish the guilty. Let us reward the innocent. My friend, can your heart stand the shocking facts about grave robbers from outer space?
Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to the Small Batch.
What up?
Ron here, and I got Tyler with me as we are going to review Plan 9 from Outer Space.
Dude, this is going to be fucking terrible.
A classic. Well, I wouldn't consider this a classic, but let's just say this is voted as probably one of the worst movies of all time. But I find it extremely entertaining for how bad it truly is. But we're going to go ahead and do our normal alcohol beverage review. You're looking nodding your head.
I don't know why everybody's so proper about it. All right, we're going to talk about the beer we're going to drink today. what we should all.
Hey, that sounded a little bit better than mine.
There we go. No, like, so I did want to kind of bounce off of what you're talking about. The movie not really being a classic. It's absolutely classic. I mean,
Yes.
This movie was made back in 1959, and here we are talking about it. You know, a couple dudes like you know, in your house, like just kind of we're gonna talk about how shitty this movie is. So even though it's not a great movie, you know, you can't. What does that make the movie, like 60 years old now?
Yeah.
Like,
it was.
I mean,
I think it was. It came out. It was released in 1957, I believe.
Yeah. So you can't argue it's a classic. You know.
Yeah.
It's persisted. But yeah. So we're gonna talk about another another bad thing we all kind of grew up with, or maybe encountered throughout our lives.
Yeah, I grew up with this. Oh, God.
So for the bad movie, we're gonna have a bad beer. So. So what's funny about this is that, like, anybody that's been in college, or was a young kid just trying, like, that was, trying to scrap together whatever change they had so they can get the local homeless guy to buy beer for them. You guys have probably had Natural Light before, so that's what we're going to drink today. Natural Light is by Anheuser-Busch, which is brewed out of St. Louis, but they have, of course, a bunch of satellite breweries all over the country. I believe we actually have one here in the state.
Yeah.
And so per the website, Natural Light, a wonderfully blended and balanced American style light beer. This is such bullshit. Natural Light is a favorite drink when you're making those epic stories happen. As in, like, hey, man.
Wait, what, seriously?
Yeah. Here, hey, man, hold my beer.
Oh, fuck you. This is bad. This is bad.
Jump into this fucking bonfire. All right. Its longer brewing process produces a lighter body, fewer calories, and easy drinking character that's welcome in any story. You said you bought like a 6-pack of Tall Boys.
6-pack of Tall Boys for $7, I believe.
Yeah, which I think you actually got overcharged on. I think most of the time you can get like a fucking like a 12-pack for this stuff for like $5 or something. It's yeah. You got this from a gas station, right?
Yeah, I got this at a Fast Mart.
Yeah, so it's always overcharged to begin with. But man, you got anything else you want to say about that? I know you were talking earlier about how you had a little history with this.
Basically, the only history I have is this is basically the type of beer that if you don't have money and you want beer, this is the cheap shit. That's basically what it is. It's cheap beer. It gets you drunk if you drink a lot of them, but that's really all it's good for. It tastes like fucking dog piss. It's fucking horrible.
I like that. It gets you drunk.
So you all ready to crack the can open?
Let's do this.
Oh, I fucking love that sound, but I'm not gonna love this beer.
Oh, dude, it smells like piss. It literally smells like urine.
Oh man, this sucks.
Not bad.
Really? Are you really saying not bad?
It's not revolting. The whole thing is like it literally doesn't taste like anything. Like
it tastes like dog piss water. I don't know. It's fucking. Well, Oh, no, I don't like it. I'm sorry.
Why are you still drinking it?
Because I bought it. I'm not going to just throw it away and put it in the fucking trash can. I mean,
Waste not, want not.
It's a way to get alcohol in your system. To get that alcohol to hit your cortex.
All right, cool. So we got our shitty beer out of the way.
Oh, yeah. So I'm curious. What is your review?
Oh, it's like no thumbs. We kind of talked about this earlier. I had never had this beer before, and I don't know.
Which I was really shocked about.
Yeah, man. I don't know. Well, I really didn't start drinking until I was like later in life, man. I didn't drink in high school. I didn't like have my first drink till I was like 18. This for my own personal reasons. But anyways, I don't know if I'm a beer snob or just I have standards. Yeah, and that's why I never had this shit before. But this is a first for me, and it's not terrible, dude. There's a lot of beers out there that the IPAs where they go like really, really super hoppy. The IBU's like fucking like 100 or some shit. Yeah. And it's just stupid. And you'll end up paying like fucking $10 for like a 4-pack. It's fucking dumb how expensive it is.
See, this goes back to the last Blockbuster episode with me and Stu when we drank the Steel Reserve. That's what it feels like to me. It's just a beer to get you drunk, but you're not going it for the taste. You're just going for the alcohol, basically.
Yeah, and then you said that, man, like that you guys were kind of on the fence about whether you guys were going to drink Steel Reserve or this shit.
Yeah. You know what? I'd probably Steel Reserve. I'd probably take Steel Reserve over this, believe it or not. But if I were to give it a review, 0 thumbs. It's fucking 2 thumbs way fucking down. So you're giving 0 thumbs or 2 thumbs down?
I can't say 2 thumbs down because it's not like repulsive.
Yeah.
It just doesn't taste like anything.
There's no good taste at all.
Yeah. There's nothing good about it. There's also nothing bad about it. It's just it's a bland beer. That like if you're trying to just drink a lot of these to get drunk, then this will do it. Yeah. For a very, very, very very little.
Well, let's go ahead and get into the movie.
Cool.
So, man, what did you think of this movie?
Oh, dude,
this was your first time seeing it, right?
Yeah.
But you've heard of it many times.
Oh, absolutely.
Now, if anybody out there has ever seen the movie Ed Wood from Tim Burton, that basically kind of does a whole life of Ed Wood and all of the movies that he's made, because he's considered as one of the worst directors of all time. But it's actually a very good comedy with Johnny Depp playing Ed Wood, and throughout the second half of the movie is basically the whole dealing of how they made this movie and the shit that they went through and everything else. And it's actually a really entertaining movie, and Martin Landau does an amazing job as Bela Lugosi, as we're going to talk about. So, but I'm telling you, Plan 9 from Outer Space, we're going to be going. It's going to be a fun one to go through.
Yeah, I got a few questions for you about all this. So Plan 9 from Outer Space, this has always been referred to as either the worst movie ever made or one of the worst movies ever made. Produced back in 1959, we have a lot more contemporary examples of bad movies, such as Tommy Wiseau's The Room.
Oh, that's a good one too.
Yeah. Oh, hi, Mark.
No, the best. You're tearing me apart, Lisa. That's the best line.
So fucking dumb, dude.
It's fucking great.
Joel Schumacher's Batman and Robin.
That's just fucking a big toy commercial. That's all it is.
Oh, yeah.
It's horrible. I can't even believe George Clooney, being the actor and Oscar winner that he is, played in that fucking movie. But big regret in life. I know it was his big regret, but
yeah, and it had fucking Schwarzenegger in it, man.
He did it for his kids.
Yeah,
all his fucking he's got probably the most one-liners in that whole movie that I've ever seen in any other movie altogether. I mean, seriously, there's so many of them.
I mean, prostitutes do really horrible things for their kids too. So, another bad movie, another contemporary example would be Split Second. That's for you, Lenny. We need guns.
Did you put that in there?
Big fucking guns.
Oh my God.
I was hoping Lenny was going to be here for this, but he's a fucking shitbag, so whatever.
You know what? Split Second. Now I gotta ask you a question. Would you consider this movie, Plan 9 from Outer Space? I know it's an early question. Better than Split Second?
Yes.
Oh, wow. That. Oh God, Lenny, I'm sorry, man. I am so sorry. That sucks.
Yeah. No, I mean they're both on par with each other. I'm just being facetious, but they're both on par with just being bad movies. I would say I was probably more entertained. Damn, actually, man,
Plan. You talking about Plan 9,
I'm not
right?
sure which movie was more entertaining, because Split Second was entertaining, like in the fact that like that Rutger Hauer was like this over the top like macho dude, like with the big fucking guns, and like Durkin was just kind of like this like ridiculous character.
See, that's the thing.
Had pretty cool.
I thought it was entertaining. I thought it was a fun movie. Yeah, it was poorly made. I mean, I remember all the things that you went down about, them looking at the camera and the fucking. You could tell that it was just a paycheck for the director. They didn't know what the fuck they were doing, but altogether. It was entertaining.
Yeah.
I didn't have any. I didn't have like I wouldn't. I'd watch it again.
Yeah. Oh, you know what? Actually, I'll hear. This is what I'll say. I can't remember who directed it, but at least that director did more than one take. Yeah. I'll give that to the director of Split Second. At least he did more than one take, because Plan 9 from Outer Space is absolutely just fucking wrecked.
And you can tell so fucking bad. I mean, seriously. I'm gonna have to bring up that Tor Johnson scene coming out of the grave. You could tell that he was trying to get out there and he almost tried to fall over.
Yeah, he was a big dude.
Oh yeah, well he's a wrestler.
Yeah. So and lastly, more contemporary examples. Very, very contemporary example of a terrible, terrible fucking movie is Army of the Dead. I know you haven't seen that just yet, but
you'd consider that
damn
bad?
It, dude. It's fucking bad, dude. Not to ruin it for you, but do not go into that film with any kind of high expectations. It fucking sucks.
I'm shocked.
Yeah.
It's that bad?
It is that bad.
It fits in this whole line of movies, of bad movies?
Yes, it does. Well, because
Wow.
I take exception to that film, because that movie took a genre of it took the zombie genre, and more recently we've had the comedy zombie genre, like with Shaun of the Dead.
Yeah.
And The Dead Don't Die and everything like that. Like good movies.
Believe it or not, I haven't finished that yet, but so far I was enjoying it. Is it pretty good? That's the one with Bill Murray in it, right?
Yeah, Adam Driver. Adam Driver's actually a really good actor.
He's an amazing actor.
I feel very badly for that dude that he got stuck with the Star Wars sequels, because he probably thought that this was going to be like his big break and he was going to be a huge movie star after this, and he got fucking caught in the middle of all that shit, man. Like, I feel fucking terrible for that dude. The disaster that would soon be the Star Wars sequels.
I agree with you on that one, because I hate those films. I just, and plus I think would you say it's his fault, or do you think it's more of the director's fault on how he portrayed that character? Kylo Ren.
I don't think he did a bad job. I think that he did the best with what he had. I think that he did a really good job. Yeah, he seemed a little whiny at times.
Yeah.
And that's the reason why his character.
Well, they said the same thing about Hayden Christensen as Anakin Skywalker
in
the Revenge of the Sith. They said that he was very whiny, especially in Attack of the Clones. That was his more.
Yeah.
But then he got.
I hate them.
Oh no, that's horrible. No, the part where he's about to battle Obi-Wan and he's yelling at him, and it just sounds like too weak. For Darth Vader.
You underestimate my power.
You underestimate my power. I mean, seriously, that's how it sounded. It's bad.
But yeah, they wanted to pick an actor who was young looking, good looking, no homo. And so that way they could really sell the love story between Anakin and Padme. I get that. However, when it comes down to when you want to create a villain, the villain has to be imposing.
Right.
And that's the reason why they had a bodybuilder, David Prowse, play Darth Vader underneath that suit.
I met him.
No shit.
Yes.
When?
Oh my God. This is small. I know we're going off subject, but I have to talk about this. Yeah. So when I was in elementary school, I played alto saxophone. Oh God, the band shit.
Remember that one time in band camp?
I didn't go to band camp. I wasn't that bad. But anyways, I had a teacher.
Still a nerd.
Shut up. I had a teacher that used to teach me alto saxophone. My mom used to take me there every Tuesday and everything else, and he'd teach me how to play saxophone every Tuesday. It was lessons. Well, he came up to me and told me, hey, we're going to play at this little autograph signing. I didn't know who it was. I didn't even know who David Prowse was at the time. But
how old were you?
I think about 10 or 11 or something like that, maybe.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
So I knew who Darth Vader was, but I don't know who the actor was. I didn't know that type of stuff.
You're still at that age where you love the movies just for the movies. And you're not getting all all the nerdy things about the making of and the characters and everything just yet.
Yeah, what he basically told me was just a character from Star Wars. I was like, oh, cool. So we got to play the Star Wars theme. So me and him were in the background playing our saxophone, playing the Star Wars theme, while this old man and this other guy, and there was pictures, all of them and everything else, were signing autographs, and people were coming in there. It was just a small building too. It was nothing really big or anything crazy. And I remember there was pictures of David Prowse as the bodybuilder from Stanley Kubrick's Clockwork Orange, and also pictures of Darth Vader. And then I was like, and the guy said he played Darth Vader, and he was charging like $75 or $80 for the autographs, and my mom would not buy it.
Gross.
And to this day, I go to my mom and I tell her, I'm so mad that you never bought me an autograph. I can't believe I fucking met Darth Vader and I never got to get his autograph. He fucking was Darth Vader. But the thing is, when I was a kid, I didn't know any better. I didn't really know because...
You didn't understand the value of $80.
Exactly. So, but trust me, if I met him today, I would have paid that $80 altogether. I would have loved that. So, yeah.
What was it, like one of these?
Yeah, no, that's exactly what it was. Yeah.
Yeah, so for those of you listening out there, it's the picture of David Prowse. He's wearing these really really thick rimmed glasses, and he's got his arms crossed. He's wearing this pink shirt. That was the picture. You do a Google search of David Prowse, A Clockwork Orange, and you can see right away what we're talking about.
Yeah, he was. It was just. It's something that's always going to be in my memory, the fact that I got to meet Darth Vader. So, because everybody thinks Darth Vader is James Earl Jones, but really it's the man in the suit. It's David Prowse, too. It's a double effort.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I think it was a joint effort on the both of them because, if you put James Earl Jones in that suit, he was going to have the same presence as a 6'6" bodybuilder.
Yeah.
Would have. So I think it's fair enough. I think that when you're talking about the character of Darth Vader, you have to equally give credit both to James Earl Jones, booming, powerful, authoritative voice, as well as David Prowse's amazing, imposing stature. Yeah, man, right. So back to the movie. Even after box office bombs, like John Carter, which lost anywhere between $129 to $225 million.
I didn't mind that movie. I didn't mind it. Wait, you didn't like it?
I mean, it was just big flashy movie, man.
It was entertaining.
It's kind of like Kong versus Godzilla. You just kind of you walk in the theater, you turn your brain off and you just enjoy the fucking movie. I guess that's kind of what it was. But the thing is that movie was
it's highly forgettable. But I mean, it's just it's entertainment. That's all it is. It's eye candy. Special effects.
Which was I really wish that I really wish Hollywood would have that perspective is that this is meant to be entertainment and leave out the politics. We'd appreciate that, Hollywood.
Yes.
However, but yeah, even after bombs like that and all the other shitty movies we talked about beforehand, this movie to this day is still regarded as one of the worst movies ever. It is the OG worst movie ever made. But and that kind of makes me wonder what makes this movie so bad. Is it the characters? Is it the plot? Is it the mishaps on scene where Ed Wood just kind of said, all right, print. Moving on to the next scene, is it the dialogue? Is it the cheap costumes and effects? What is it about this movie that makes it the worst movie ever made? And where we're still talking about it today, 60 years later.
You know what? That's a good question. And when I'm thinking about it, there are some cool scenes in it. The special effects for the flying saucers part, everybody thought that those were plates, but they actually weren't. They're actually models. The models that they bought in a store of those flying saucers. It actually wasn't that bad for that time. I didn't even see the strings. Did you see the strings? Because I actually...
Yeah, no, I did.
Well, it's not that bad. But other than that...
Are you watching this on a CRT TV?
No, I saw this on high def.
Strings.
Maybe I don't know. I watched the colorized version because I got stuck with that one on Amazon Prime, and I wanted to watch the black and white version. So that's probably why maybe they fixed it. I don't know. But I didn't see it as bad. But there are some actually pretty cool scenes, like the graveyard scenes, the way it looked, until you notice how really, truly fake those fucking gravestones looked.
Yeah, not only that, it seemed like really, really claustrophobic too, because a graveyard is supposed to be outdoors. It's supposed to be expansive, and you can see.
Oh, you could tell this was a set.
You could see the horizon, whatever. You literally saw about 10, 20 feet away from the camera, and there was obviously just a black painted matte, screen or something like that, or a wall or something.
Yeah.
It was kind of for supposedly being outdoors, it was really claustrophobic feeling.
But the gravestones themselves, you can tell so bad how those were cardboard. Yep. And you can even see it when you're walking through scenes, you see the actors running through, you can see some of them move. Yeah. It's that bad.
Yeah.
But not just that. The fucking airplane inside the fucking the airplane scene.
Oh, geez, the cockpit. Yeah,
oh my God, it just looks like a fucking room. And seriously, the fucking it's so bad. I'm telling you, you just watch that, you're like, that looks like something that a kid would make for building a airplane. Like a little airplane set when there's imaginary make believe.
Hawaii, Billy.
Exactly, that's exactly what it looks like. It's so bad, but
it's just there was no, which is something Ed Wood was famous for. There's no regard to realism at all, because every cockpit that you see, there's all sorts of instruments and gauges and switches and all kinds of things, all over the the walls, the ceiling, everything like that. Like the Millennium Falcon was more convincing as a cockpit of an aircraft, than that closet it was that they shot the cockpit scenes in.
Well, the inside of the fucking spaceship was even bad. It just looked like it was just a big square room, and just the things on the fucking desk. You could see all the different what are those things that make all the noises? It's just little boxes that go beep boop and all that stuff.
Bring in the machine that goes bing.
Oh man, I fucking love Monty Python. But also the fact that Ed Wood likes to use stock footage, like all the scenes where you see the guns, it looks like World War II footage or something like that.
Yeah.
All stock footage. And
you know, it was like the most annoying part of that to me was the fact that that Ed Wood thought that his audience was so fucking dumb. He literally had to narrate every single thing that was going on.
And his voice, oh my God, his voice.
So we talked about that. I thought maybe perhaps that was Ed Wood. That
is Ed Wood.
I thought it was Criswell.
No,
Criswell.
Criswell did the intro. It was Ed Wood doing the voice, and trust me, I know because I've watched some of his other movies, and his voice, it's weird as fuck. He's got a weird voice. The thing is, in the movie Ed Wood with Tim Burton, Johnny Depp portrays him. It's completely doesn't even match up. But that's an over dramatized movie, and they're going to change things around and stuff like that. They're not going to be exactly, but they made the look right with the mustache, the pencil thin mustache, and everything else. But no, that's Ed Wood's voice. It sounds horrible. What was the word that you said when I talked to you about it?
Transvestites. I need transvestites.
No, I'm talking about the original Ed Wood. Doing the narration of Plan 9 from Outer Space.
Yeah. So there's a couple lines in there that were just. It was his writing, like Criswell's opening where he's like everyone thinks about the future because we have to spend the rest of our lives there. It's like, yeah, no shit. The future happens, I guess. I don't really know what you're trying to say here. And then the narration of where basically they're trying to shoehorn in all the scenes with Bela Lugosi, and he's talking about Bela Lugosi's wife dying, and the home that they had shared had become a tomb.
Yeah.
And the shadow or the overcast or something like that, or the clouds in the sky just became a covering for her dead body. What the
well, see, the thing is, I don't know. What he's doing is he's basically just using the stock footage of Bela Lugosi because, of course, when this movie was made, Bela Lugosi died. He was already dead. So Ed Wood, I don't know if you were going to bring this up, Ed Wood shot some footage of Bela Lugosi before he passed away, and he just basically had it in a film can. Yeah. So he wanted to have him in this movie, and he even has him as a starring role in this movie as the ghoul. But it's actually played by his wife's chiropractor. So they used the footage, and somehow, I guess, whatever he saw, he just... All right, here's a good example. In the movie Ed Wood, when he meets this guy in Hollywood, and they're going over stock footage... Basically, they're going over this guy showing him all this old stock footage from World War II, little octopus scenes and stuff like that. And Ed Wood's just automatically just thinking of lines, just just thinking about how portraying what's going on with the octopus, and he's about to get killed but it's that's the way it is basically.
Yeah, what is it? He says something about there's all kinds of natural disasters and earthquakes, and it's upsetting all the buffalo.
Yes. So you remember that better than I do, but that's one of my favorite movies of all time. Ed Wood is a great fucking movie. I do recommend. In fact, in a way, I think what you should do is if anybody's never seen Ed Wood and Plan 9 from Outer Space, watch Ed Wood first, and then watch Plan 9 from Outer Space. I recommend that. Watch.
See, I actually kind of disagree with that.
You think you want to do it the other way around?
I know. Here. So this is actually what I did in preparation for this. So I actually watched Plan 9 from Outer Space, watched Ed Wood for a little bit more of the so I'd understand the scenes and everything like that where they're filming the movie, and then I watched Plan 9 again, just kind of to get comprehensive knowledge of both, and I kind of felt like I understood a little bit more about what was going on at the time. A little bit better. I know it's a lot of work, but
you got to watch Bride of the Monster too.
I haven't watched that yet.
You got to watch that one.
Honestly, man, for as much as this movie sucked, and Ed Wood was you really end up feeling bad for the guy.
Pull the strings. Pull the strings.
Bullshit. I'm ready. Let's film now.
Oh, that's my favorite line. That's my favorite scene in the movie.
Yeah. So, in spite of the fact that I felt they painted a very, very generous picture of Ed Wood, provided by what I found out about him later in life and what we'll talk about here in a little bit. Even though they painted a very generous picture of him, I'm actually really excited to watch Bride of the Monster now.
Oh, dude, it's you got to watch Glenn and Glenda too.
No, I'll pass. I'm good.
You have to. You got. See, that's the thing. If you truly are a cinephile, you need to watch Glenn. You need to watch every movie.
No, thank you.
You
Go
know what?
fuck
You can't
yourself.
watch his later films because I will say this: Ed Wood dived into the
It's the porn industry
into the porn industry and softcore porn.
and hardcore.
Oh yeah, it's.
I mean, like, which is fair because, like, you know, if you suck at making movies, like, what's the safest thing you can do? Porn.
Yeah, in fact, one of his movies is it's actually not directed by him; it's written by him. Orgy of the Dead. I mean, it's literally that. It's got Criswell in it. It's fucking dog shit. It's horrible, but I own it.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. All right, so let's get back into the plot of this movie. So, like, I had asked, like, you know, what makes this movie so bad, and part of it, I believe, is sort of a culmination of a bunch of things, and one of the primary ones is being the plot.
Yeah.
So I watched this movie twice, and this is how I sort of surmise the plot. So aliens are afraid that humans, after making the atom bomb, will create the Solaranite bomb, a bomb that would ignite the rays of light from the sun and destroy anything the sun touches, setting off a chain reaction that effectively destroys the universe. All right. So, so aside from that being a ridiculous concept, we'll move on. They have tried to warn us for many years by visiting Earth with their flying saucers, supposedly explaining, you know, Roswell and all the previous sightings and everything before. But the U.S. has fought a secret war with the aliens. Plans 1 through 8 have been unsuccessful. The plans by the aliens have been unsuccessful. Now the aliens are going to execute Plan 9. Which is to raise the recently deceased people that are now vampires that don't drink blood. They just walk really slowly and they scare housewives, which is exactly what they fucking did. These undead vampires, all 3 of them, will stop the humans from inventing the Solaranite bomb somehow. Don't worry, a commercial pilot and some military officers board the alien spacecraft, get into a fist fight with the head alien, start a fire, and they save the Earth. Even though the aliens said that if Plan 9 fails, they were going to destroy the Earth for the safety of the universe, the movie ends with a military officer saying they're gone, but they'll be back. Is there sort of like hinting towards a sequel that nobody fucking wants?
No.
Yeah, no, dude. If they come back, they're going to come back with a fucking Death Star and they're going to destroy the Earth because they warned us, like, no, this is what they're going to do.
Yep.
So, I mean, like, is that a fair summation of, like, the plot?
No, that's completely fair. I'm still going about the whole, the fucking alien explaining the whole thing with a gasoline can. You remember that? Inside the ship.
Yeah, trying to like.
And it was just going on and
break
on
it down
and
for you
on.
stupid humans. Yeah.
And he was entertaining to watch because of how bad he truly acted in that scene. He was
Eros.
oh my God. And
I'll give him credit, man. Like, you know, so in a lot of comic book movies, you have these actors that just like chew the fucking scenery, like i.e. fucking like, you know, Tommy Lee Jones as Two-Face or Jack Nicholson as Joker.
Yeah.
They just like they overact and sometimes it works out. This was the original like overactor.
yeah, Dudley Manlove is his actor's name, which yeah, seriously, his name is Dudley Manlove. I want to. That's wow. That's an interesting name, Manlove.
That's my stage name.
And of course, Tor Johnson, who plays one of the ghouls. He was actually one of the he was just one of the inspectors. That
yeah, he was like a police detective or something.
Yeah, he plays Bela Lugosi's henchman in Bride of the Monster. He's a big guy. He's a wrestler, and actually, his face in that scene with the makeup is actually a very famous Halloween mask at that time.
Yeah, I read about that, and I was like, I don't even remember that. Here,
I've actually seen that mask before in an old Halloween store, like back in the 90s. I remember seeing that mask. So, and also Vampira.
Yeah, baby.
Oh, I actually like the actress who portrayed her in Ed Wood because that used to be, I believe, Tim Burton's girlfriend because she was in.
No, it was his wife. It was his wife.
No, was it his wife?
Yeah, it was his wife.
Really? Yeah. She was in Mars Attacks. She was in Sleepy Hollow. She was in Ed Wood. What else was she in? Was she?
She was basically in everything up until he met Helena Bonham Carter on the set of Planet of the Apes.
Yeah, I remember that. Was he really his wife?
Yeah.
Because Helena Bonham Carter they were never married either. They had a kid together, and they lived together, but they were never married. She was a hottie.
Marie had a small role in the film while Burton's new girlfriend. Yeah, no, you're right. Yeah, they never got married.
That's what I thought. See, I
don't
think Tim Burton's ever been married, actually.
Yeah, well, maybe.
So Mela Nurmi, Basically, she plays Vampira. She actually had a show that is almost exactly like Elvira's. Of course, this was before Elvira, and she even tried to sue Elvira because she felt like Elvira was like stealing her act.
Which I can kind of get that, man. You look at Vampira and you look at Elvira, and you're just like, yeah, it's the same shit.
Yeah, and the thing is, she didn't even want to act in this movie, so she actually only got paid $200 to be in this movie, and she wanted her role mute. And that's what she got. So that's why all she does is just stand there and put her hands up and look all creepy as shit and everything else. So she's one of the ghouls. And then there was another actor, the chiropractor that I was talking about, that plays the dead Bela Lugosi's. And the reason why Ed Wood used this actor, the thing is, even in the cast, it says Bela Lugosi stars in it. So it doesn't even have that chiropractor's name. It's Bela Lugosi. And it's the guy with the cape covering his face.
Yeah.
That's supposed to be Bela Lugosi's character.
Yeah.
Because in the beginning, he dies, so he's the dead man coming back from the dead, and it's the three ghouls that are brought back from the dead from the aliens.
Yeah, yeah. And like, there's this whole like where like Vampira and the ghoul, like they have like this whole like vampire thing going on, like, but they don't drink blood. It's just so fucking ridiculous.
It's fucking weird. But Tor Johnson, believe it or not, I thought was actually pretty cool the way he looked. I mean, I thought he was just the face and his eyes,
with the contacts. I mean, even though he couldn't see shit, but yeah, and like with the contacts and. Being that was like he was such a big fucking dude, like like he looked legitimately scary. Like if anything, as far as like the monsters go, he was definitely the scariest part about that movie.
And see, that's the thing. The funny thing about this movie is that it's sci-fi with the aliens, but then when you look at the graveyard scene, it looks like a horror movie. Yeah. So it slides from different genres right there. So I thought that was kind of that is one thing I think is kind of neat with Ed Wood, because he was obsessed with stuff like that, creating all different types of things in his movies, and you could tell the different genres right there.
Yeah.
But then you also got to think of the airplane pilot, his acting. Oh my God, it's all funny and how cheap this movie was made, because that scene where he's there with his wife. And he's talking about what he saw and everything. Everything was just filmed on that back, the back.
It's like a patio deck.
Yeah, you never see him inside the house. They're always just on that back patio.
Yeah,
and he's even coming out and getting dressed, and he's on the back patio.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't be surprised if they're just squatting on somebody's back patio deck while they weren't home or something.
Exactly,
it's like the fucking shoestring budget of this movie.
And then you got to talk about the fucking cops. Oh my God.
Dude, they're so fucking useless. They're like Keystone Cops, man. This is fucking ridiculous.
Yeah, that scene where he's inside the hole in the ground from the gravestone. The way they're talking to it's just so bad. The guys do not know how to act whatsoever.
No.
Now, would you say in this whole movie there's any good acting?
Nope.
None.
Done. No. Well, I hear. Sorry, let me take that back. Let me backtrack there. Bela Lugosi did very, very well, being that he had no lines. I mean, the dude's like he's. He's a legit actor, and that was
so sorry for him.
Yeah, no, I absolutely do. It's definitely really kind of sad to see him like in this film. Like, I'll give credit where credit's due. Bela Lugosi, for what he had to work with, did very, very well.
Okay, I need to ask you a question. Have you seen the original Dracula?
No, it's
what?
Well, hang on a second. So that movie is. What, like 30s or something like that? So we're talking like
it's the original monsters, like Dracula,
damn
Frankenstein,
like 90 years old or something like that. Like like I've seen several other iterations of it. Like ever since then, like I've seen the Dracula 2000. I've seen like Bram Stoker's Dracula with Gary Oldman.
Yeah.
Just because I wasn't born in 1930 or 1950. It's one of those movies where I've never ever seen it before. But now after watching this movie, I'm probably going to go back and actually watch it. But yeah, no, Bela Lugosi was a legit actor, a true master of his craft. I'm sure if he was alive and now he'd be right up there with Daniel Day-Lewis or Christian Bale.
Yeah, and the thing is, he really loved his role of Dracula. He took it seriously. He was even buried with his cape.
Yeah, but it's kind of unfortunate. I kind of feel like he was typecast.
You really didn't think so? Because the thing is, Ed Wood developed a friendship with him, so that's why Bela Lugosi was used in all of his movies. But also, Bela Lugosi was a washed-up actor, and he also developed the addiction to morphine.
Yeah, no, I'd heard about that. But yeah, no, let's talk a little bit more about the acting. So you'd ask me who I thought was the best actor. I definitely think it's Bela Lugosi. And there's tons of bad acting in this film.
Yeah.
One of the scenes that kind of stands out to me is the scene where the the workers from the funeral home are carrying away the grave diggers.
Yeah.
Because I guess like they were killed by Vampira.
Yep.
And like they're walking away with the body. They've got the body in like this little light stretcher, and like there's some cops standing around. One of the saucers like flies over and like and buzzes them, and like this light flashes. The funeral home guys throw the fucking body. I mean, like with force, throw the fucking body. It goes flying and like it rolls off. Like the cops hit the ground and they almost like knock over a bunch of like gravestones and like
I know,
like they're so fucking fake. And again, Ed Wood just like, all right, cut, print. Moving on, like it's just like
no. That's the thing. He never did multiple takes.
Yeah.
He just did one take, and they even said that in the movie, the Ed Wood movie. One of the crewmen says, don't you want to go to the next? I mean, don't you want to redo that scene? It looks like there was an issue with this was for the Bride of Monster scene where the wall moved. And he said, no, it's perfect. Keep it going.
I remember seeing that shit in Ed Wood. I was just like, yeah, that's Ed Wood right there in a nutshell.
Yeah, he didn't care. I mean, he was just he wasn't a perfectionist, but that's the thing. It's like he thought that he knew what he was doing, but he really did not.
Well, I mean, there was one thing. I have to take the movie Ed Wood with a grain of salt because in my review and like my research on the film, there was a lot of things about it that were not incredibly accurate, and there's a lot of people actually pissed off about it because you know they were portraying people that they had loved ones and families didn't agree with the way that certain characters
like
were.
I said, it's a movie. It's over dramatized. It's not going to be fully accurate and everything else. So I mean, they get away with that and stuff like that. So it's
but yeah, no, like I absolutely believe that was absolutely true about Ed Wood being because I read in a couple places that he was known for getting 20 or 30 scenes done in a day, whereas like with most conventional shoots, it takes they only get maybe 2 or 3 done a day.
Which a lot of studios would kind of back up that plan because they're not going over budget or anything like that. But nowadays, people they're really rushing you to get things finished, and because if you're taking too long, the more days that they are filming, it's more money. So.
One other thing with the acting that really kind of stood out to me was the lack of gun safety. So I understand these were probably prop guns. They or probably had blanks or something like that in them. But I don't know if you ever noticed that wherever the cops have their guns, that they're usually gesturing with them, pointing them at each other, just as if they were Harrison Ford, pointing their finger at them, whatever, it'd be a fucking gun, and their fingers on the fucking.
Why didn't I realize that? I didn't even.
Yeah,
now I got to watch the movie again just to see that.
Yeah, watch it again, man. So I don't know if you've ever taken a gun safety course before. There's 4 main rules, and one of those is always control the muzzle.
Well, you always keep the muzzle down. You don't ever always end it downward. You don't have it pointed anywhere towards anybody. It's
always assume that's loaded. Always control the muzzle.
Yeah.
So basically you do not ever point it at something unless you plan to destroy it, and that was completely and totally fucking ignored by these actors. I mean, granted, they're Hollywood actors that it probably were just friends of Ed Wood and had probably never touched a gun until this point. But the absolute disregard for gun safety is absolutely fucking glaring in this movie. Dude, watch it again.
I'm gonna have to keep an eye on that.
Yeah, and you'll absolutely see it. I'm really, really glad, man, that we're talking about this after doing War of the Worlds, because and you had kind of mentioned it before about how this movie was sort of a cross section between horror and sci-fi.
Yeah.
And I think that Ed Wood was definitely, he was trying to revitalize the old horror genre. As a matter of fact, actually, Mahler on YouTube said this, and I thought it was very, very, very good. Where he said that the horror genre has actually been remade and redone more than any other genre in Hollywood, where where there's a lot of the same tropes being kind of done over and over again. There's being different ways, and they persist. But with horror, it's always changed. It's gone from the slasher to the found footage, to you name it, torture porn, the Saw and in the
Paranormal Activity type of stuff. A lot of the ghosts.
Yeah. Yes. And the whole the torture porn Hostel. And that genre's been reinvented a bunch of times. It kind of seems like Ed Wood was trying to revitalize the monster,
The old school horror.
the old school monster,
Yeah.
monster like the mummies and like in the Draculas and like in the Frankenstein monster and everything like that. At the same time, capitalizing on how popular the sci-fi genre was at the time.
Because the 50s, I think, believe this was 1959 that this was made.
Yeah, that's what I read.
I thought it was
think you said earlier.
1957, but yeah, 1959, and that era was mainly a lot of sci-fi movies, The Day the Earth Stood Still, War of the Worlds, and all that. So
Forbidden Planet.
yeah,
Which again we talked about during World of Worlds, but that's just it. You know, just like Jaws, whenever there's a great film, great pretenders will always follow.
Yep.
And I definitely feel like this movie was a great pretender of the World of Worlds.
yes.
So
But not War of the Worlds is truly much better.
well, yeah, that's what I mean. Like, you know, it was a great pretender. So all right, so I challenge you to tell me one good thing about this movie.
You're gonna laugh. The only good thing about this movie is how entertaining it is to laugh at these actors. I'm telling you, I was laughing at that alien more than anything. Just the way that he was talking. Also, the ruler, the one that was given the
Bunny.
Yeah. Oh my God. First of all, just that scene alone, that desk just looked like a random wooden desk that you would find in a office desk.
Yeah.
You could tell right there, and those are just regular curtains inside of a room. It just looks so bad, but just the way that he acted and over dramatized, it made me laugh. And I see this more as a comedy when it's not a comedy. That's what I see it as.
Yeah, like an unintentional comedy.
Yes. Which I guess you could also say The Room is in the same way, because The Room was actually supposed to be something more of a drama, but it seems so much like a comedy. But from Tommy Wiseau, which one, the one we were just talking about earlier?
Yeah.
That's what I feel like. It's so entertaining for how bad it is. It's something that I could watch with a bunch of guys and just laugh our asses off, basically.
Yeah.
That's really the only thing good about this movie. But you know what? I won't lie. There's a couple camera shots that I actually liked. The panning of the camera on certain scenes and certain ways that he pointed the camera. I enjoyed that. Like, it seemed kind of professional in that way.
No, see, like I actually absolutely disagree.
Really?
I think a lot of his framing and like in perspective was fucking.
See,
terrible.
I didn't mind it. I didn't mind a couple scenes that he had. Like I said, I was noticing and I was watching. I was like, with the focusing scene and everything else, it wasn't that bad.
No, I thought it was fucking terrible, man. I'm so sorry, dude. Like, just
yeah, well, point of just
yeah. No, like,
we agree to disagree.
Yeah, I'll point out like one scene in particular. It was like they were wrapping up Bela Lugosi's funeral.
Yeah.
Excuse me, the ghoul, and they were coming out of like that fucking
crypt
tomb or crypt
which
or whatever.
Was basically just like a big box with a box door. It looks so fucking bad.
Yeah, it's like they took a refrigerator box and cut a door in it to it.
Yeah, exactly.
And so like they're walking out of it, and there's like this actress, and she's like, oh, first his wife and now him, and they're walking away, and she sees the bodies of the grave diggers, and it's like a shot where she's like pointing and screaming, and she's just like, ah, and like it's through like a fucking tree, like a dead tree.
Yeah.
And it's just like you couldn't like have moved the camera like a couple of feet either direction, so that way you got a clear shot of her, and she wasn't like just pointing through the fucking trees.
Yeah.
Maybe it's like he thought that like that it was going to make it more believable that nobody'd seen the bodies until this point or something like that. But it was just you almost like see the trees first before you see her.
Right.
Like it's really, really distracting, and that's just another example of a lot of his framing was just fucking terrible.
I think the lighting was horrible in the movie. That's what I think was horrible, was the fucking lighting. Now,
Do you mean the lighting in general, or how like some scenes that went from day to night to day to night?
It did that at least 20 times. I mean, I was trying to keep count exactly how many times it went to the graveyard to outside of the graveyard. It was completely daylight, and then when you're in the graveyard, it's fucking looks like it's midnight or late at night.
Yeah,
I couldn't figure out. It's like the graveyard was a room, and the outdoor. I couldn't figure out why they were doing that. What was the whole thing with the day and light?
Well, I think it's just because it's a simple fact that they were trying to. They had like the scenes on set with like in the graveyard, and they were mixing them with scenes where like they were outside, and they probably had filmed them during the day because they had no artificial light because they couldn't afford it. It was just all
made it so bad though. I don't know why he would do it that way.
It was all just byproducts of them not having a budget and Ed Wood just being a terrible director.
Oh yeah, no.
So all right, so here's my good thing. So
please do tell, because I'm really curious.
Yeah, I can appreciate. I don't think that all films need to have a moral. I don't necessarily think that all films have to be realistic. I think that we can have films where it deals with with fantasy or magic or whatever, and the whole point is like you're not really supposed to understand like why they are the way they are, this movie actually has a moral, and that moral is that just like Ed Wood himself, that when ambition is greater than ability, disaster can occur.
Yeah.
And when human innovation outsteps our ability to control what we've created, such as the atom bomb, we may end up destroying ourselves, and perhaps even more, we may end up destroying our entire solar system, or maybe the next star over, or our entire galaxy. The concept behind the solar night bomb is pretty ridiculous, but we don't know what's out there. We don't know like what our capabilities are. I think that if you had told anyone from 50 years ago about our smartphones or Tesla cars or anything like that, or any of like the amazing things we have going on right now, they probably wouldn't believe you at all and think that you're just some crazy person just ranting. So what we may be able to invent in the future could be even worse than thermonuclear weapons.
Yeah.
So if there's a moral of the story, I think it's that. And so I give Ed Wood credit for at least having a moral to his story.
I never thought about it that way. But that's really the only good thing that you would see in this film? Other than Bela Lugosi?
Yeah, aside from Bela Lugosi's acting, yeah.
Now, what did you think of Bela Lugosi's scenes that were put? Do you think they fit in the film perfectly?
No. Like I think that it was very, very out of place because it was very, very clear that he was making. I think I read something about he was trying to make a movie called like the Tomb of the Vampire or something like that.
Yeah, and
so all the scenes just kind of seem like they're shoehorned in, and you can kind of tell that from the narration that they were just trying to make it fit, make it work, so that way they can put Bela Lugosi's name on their movie and make it more.
Well, see, that's the thing. That's what they were trying to do is Bela Lugosi. But the thing is, he was such a washed-up actor that it didn't really do anything to it because they were trying that having a more popular name would actually attract more people to see this movie. But the fact is that he was, like you said, he was already washed up as it was. What did you want to talk about Bela Lugosi and his past?
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, let's get into that. So I think that Bela Lugosi in this movie is a huge travesty. Because again, I kind of feel like that he was typecast into his most known part of being Dracula. He was a very, very serious actor, and I think that Ed Wood, sort of being the opportunist that he was, sort of took advantage of his friendship with Bela Lugosi and kind of allowed his career to end on a sour note because of Ed Wood's vanity.
Yeah, well. See, that's the thing. In the Ed Wood movie, they kind of portrayed him as being really good friends and him trying to give him the roles and, also give him the money. Because really, in the movie, because he's a morphine addict, and he was using the money to get more morphine, and he was just slowly just decaying, basically. And I believe he was the first tabloid, like the whole tabloid headline about an actor going into recovery and going into what's the place? Rehab, basically. And that got him a little bit more press. But it does suck that actor as good as he was went down in one of the most worst movies of all time, basically.
Yeah.
Being his last movie. Nobody wants their last movie to be the worst movie of all time, Yeah.
They
want to go out in a bang of glory, basically.
Yeah, like that, or just kind of just go out with a bang and don't fizzle out.
Yeah,
that's the best thing we can kind of all hope for. You kind of want like a Bruce Lee finish.
Yeah,
may he rest in peace.
He was a classic.
Yeah, I mean, he finished his career with Enter the Dragon and Game of Death, which not everybody saw that, but he ended his career with Enter the Dragon, against his will, albeit. But he's known for being a part of one of the greatest kung fu movies and really kind of bringing the kung fu genre to America, and that's how we all remember him. He didn't go out like Elvis or Brett Favre.
But no, this Bela Lugosi dying before this one and this movie coming out, I can understand the whole travesty, as you say.
Yeah. So I got a few words to say about Bella. It's weird and a little sad to see Bella Lugosi, the Dracula, in this role. Bella led a really, really interesting life. Even though as an actor he was exempt from military service, he joined the army and actually fought in World War I.
Yeah. Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
Yeah, he was on the front lines with the ski patrol, and he rose to the rank of captain. This is, of course, in Hungary. He was
Because he was Hungarian.
yeah, he was wounded, and you have to be Hungarian.
I love that part with his hands. Yeah.
Yeah, you have to be double jointed. And you have to be Hungarian. He was wounded in battle, and he finished out the war in a hospital, and he was awarded the equivalent of a Purple Heart. And after the war, Hungary was politically divided. So I guess like they were like on the verge of a civil war after World War I. And Bella was actually an outspoken supporter of his party. And when the revolution failed, Bella was labeled a traitor, and he actually had to flee Hungary to avoid incarceration.
Really?
Yeah, and
I
I believe
didn't know that.
I believe he went to Germany first, and then went on to America. But dude was married 5 times. You knew about that?
That's typical Hollywood right there.
Yeah, I guess so. One thing was that he was very traditional and like in his values, and he thought that he should be the man of the house and be in control and everything, and like if being in Hollywood where like those values really don't mesh. I think that every woman that he got with just didn't really melt with that. Because there was one woman where he was divorced. He divorced her after 4 days. They were only married for 4 days before they got divorced. Like really, really fucking short marriage.
Well, he's considered a method actor. Like he really gets in the role and he stays in that role even when he's filming the movie.
Yeah.
Just like Daniel Day-Lewis, a method actor, or what's his name, Jared Leto.
Yeah, yeah, and that's another reason why I really respect him and why it's kind of sad to see him in this. And like so, it was said that that Bella was a serious actor and he took every role very, very seriously. He would work for hours every day perfecting his craft. He performed in productions of Hamlet and Macbeth and Romeo and Juliet, and even played Jesus in a couple of roles.
That I didn't know.
Yeah,
But the thing is,
these are all stage performances, by the way.
but he respected Ed Wood. That's the thing. He respected Ed Wood. Or do you think that that's more dramatized in the movie and that they were never, because they did have a friendship.
Yeah.
So maybe
I think what it was like is that Ed, I will give Ed Wood this, he absolutely had ambition, he absolutely had passion for the job. I just don't think he was capable of it.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, I know he wasn't capable of it. We can see the proof in the pudding that he was not fucking capable of that job.
I don't think he's ever released a good film at all. I mean, his films just got even worse and worse after Plan 9 from Outer Space. And before that, I mean, like I said, I'm going to have to change my opinion because Plan 9 from Outer Space, there are actually worse movies out there. There are. There is a whole lot more worse movies. I mean, fucking Garbage Pail Kids. That movie's a travesty. Horrible. This movie still, I find, can be entertaining. And I you know what? It's not bad when you think about it. It is bad, but it's not bad. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, there is entertainment to be had.
Yes.
Yeah, when you watch the movie. Yeah.
The entertainment in watching how bad these actors can act, other than Bela Lugosi. But really, Bela Lugosi, his character was completely mute, so you didn't really see that.
Yeah.
Back to Bela Lugosi. Sorry.
Well, I mean, that's the reason why I give him so much credit is because even though he was mute, he did very, very well at voting.
Yeah.
Like holding the flower, dropping it, and then just kind of putting his
filmed in front of Tor's house, by the way.
His face in his hands and being very, very, very visibly upset. For whatever reason that he was being coached on at the time. It was very good. It didn't seem cheesy or hammed up at all. It was done very well. But yeah, so like I mentioned before that he did stage performances of all these very, very great plays.
The fact that you said he played Jesus, it still shocks me. I did not know that at all.
Oh, it's even weirder, man. Look at some of the pictures of him portraying Jesus, and it looks good because they actually had him pose in some of them some famous paintings of Jesus. And
was this after Dracula or before Dracula?
No, before.
So this was silent film era.
No, these were stage performances.
Oh, okay,
yeah.
Gotcha.
As a matter of fact, actually, before he got the role of Dracula, he actually did several stage performances of Dracula, and he sort of became famous for it.
Right.
And they were like, okay, we're going to make a movie of Dracula, and they actually didn't cast him right away. They actually were auditioning and had a bunch of other actors in mind.
Yeah.
And didn't cast him right away, and both Bella and a bunch of people were just kind of this guy is famous for having this iconic performance of Dracula, and you guys aren't gonna give it to him. So they eventually did. And unfortunately, like, you know, like when he did that and he did so well, kind of portraying this like both terrifying and like and sexual performance of Dracula, like it unfortunately kind of defined him and it typecasted him. And again, that's why I say like it was kind of sad to see him in this role and being reduced down to the role of another iteration of Dracula.
I'm actually really excited to hear your opinion about Dracula when you see it, because you definitely need to see it.
Yeah. No, I mean, I've seen a lot of clips, and especially like the
That's where the Swan Lake comes from too, because I was in Dracula.
Yeah, and you know, I watched a documentary on Bela Lugosi's life, and of course, like there was a lot of clips of Dracula just kind of like showing his acting prowess, and like the dude was fucking good, man.
Yeah, no, he did a great job of the role.
Yeah.
Especially for that time and era that it came out at, because that was, like I said, that was when the first classic monsters, the Wolfman, Frankenstein, Dracula, the Mummy, all that came out. I think the Creature from the Black Lagoon, I believe too.
I'm not sure.
I think he's considered one of the classic monsters too. So, and also Bride of Frankenstein and everything else.
So like that actually came out like a couple of years before all this, and probably while they're doing like, you know, Glenn or Glinda and all that shit.
And Jailbait.
All right. Yeah, the last thing I would say about Bela was just like the morphine addiction, if you want to talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. Yeah. So one of the not so great things about Bela's life was he suffered from morphine addiction. That was featured in the Ed Wood movie. That was absolutely true. And we'd already kind of talked about how he went to rehab and he cleaned up shortly before this film, and then he passed shortly thereafter. So it was at least good to see him in this final role, knowing that he was clean, and healthier. So I'm gonna have a drink to Bela. So may he rest in peace. All right.
Oh, that natural ice is so good.
Yeah, it's fucking garbage. All right, so Ed Wood, you motherfucker. Let's talk about you a little bit. Edward D. Jr. Edward D. Wood Jr. Yeah. So the filmmaker whose ambition was greater than his talent,
and his slightly Angora fetish.
Dude, what the fuck? Apparently, he did a project that was called Planet Angora. What the fuck, dude?
He has a thing with Angora. I don't know. And the thing is, he was not. We're not going to politics, and I have no offense to any to gays or anything like that, but he wasn't gay. No, he just liked to wear women's clothes.
Yeah, you know, he was like fucking Eddie Izzard. I fucking love Eddie Izzard. I made a joke reference one of his jokes in one of our episodes because the dude's an amazing comedian and he's a transvestite.
Right.
And he is how I learned about how you can be a transvestite and still be straight. Cause I thought they were just exclusive. Like, you know, if you were a transvestite, like you had to be gay. Like, no, like that's not the case. As a matter of fact, a lot of transvestites are
very straight. Yeah. They just like the feel of a woman's clothes, but Ed Wood had the like for Angora sweaters for some strange reason.
Yeah.
And there's another movie that he stars in that I have of his, because I once I learned about Ed Wood, I wanted to get all of his movies to see what he had, and you could see him dressed in drag, and it's not a good sight.
Are you talking about pictures of Ed Wood himself?
No, it's actually video of him in complete drag with a wig and everything, talking. It's pretty bad.
Yeah. No, I'm yeah, no, I'm sorry, man. Like just like a dude wearing a dress is just absolute repulsive, whatever. You can say I'm a cisgender male or whatever, like and closed minded, like it's fucking off putting. All right, so Ed Wood, let's talk about that dude. So a filmmaker whose ambition was greater than his talent. Ed Wood actually had a very surprisingly large body of work, just like not just a few movies that we talked about.
Yeah.
He actually went on to do some other things and worked for about a 20-year span.
Downward spiral, basically.
Yeah. So anyways, it is true that he did fight in World War II as a Marine. He was wounded, and he did claim that he wore a bra and panties under his uniform.
Yep.
Yeah. So in addition to that, so as well as being frequently called a hack, Ed Wood was also called an optimist.
Yeah.
And I would give Johnny Depp credit. Like he did a very, very, very good job of portraying that. Like,
he did great.
A guy who always had a smile on his face no matter what, and that was actually said amongst the guys that fought with him during the war was no matter how bleak things seemed to be, like that dude always was always optimistic. And I don't know if that just makes him a sociopath.
Yeah.
or if he just he just had the right attitude about everything.
I found it funny that in the movie how he was explaining because he was explaining to his new girlfriend in the Ed Wood movie about how he wasn't scared about wearing them, but he was scared about being caught by the other side and them finding out about his secret of wearing bra and panties.
Yeah, which like in the 40s, I definitely understand that.
Yeah,
but yeah, no. So I already said like that Johnny Depp did a great job portraying him, and I think we already kind of talked about how like after Plan 9 and everything. He definitely went down like this downward spiral and became an alcoholic, started working in porn and
yeah, there was even a movie he made that I actually have not seen and I've been trying to find. I'm going to see if I can find it somewhere, maybe on DVD or something, called Night of the Ghouls that I've never seen. But yeah, he got into softcore porn to the point where he was even a part of it too. Yeah, it's in the videos. It's really strange because you don't see that in a director, especially with Plan 9 Outer Space, and then you see porn, but I guess that's where he thought that. I don't know. I don't know why he went that way.
I mean, I may have already said that, but when you're in Hollywood, and you have no talent. What's something you can do that you won't fail at, and that's porn.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, he.
But he tried to put a story in his porn. That's the thing. He did his little famous writing. It's definitely in there.
Yeah, I guess so. I haven't seen it, so I really can't speak from experience. But he died of a heart attack at the age of 54, and
young.
One thing I will
I think he was an alcoholic.
Yeah. And one thing I will say though is that his wife Kathy, who was portrayed by Patricia Arquette in the Ed Wood movie, she was with him and she stayed with him for I guess 20 years.
Yep.
In spite of all of that, and was with him when he died. So
and she was very loyal to him.
Yeah, loyal. Loyal is definitely a word. So
hey, they were happy.
So after kind of talking about Bella's life and Ed Wood's life, so we do kind of see like some striking similarities between their lives, albeit just a few, but they both served in the military, they both fought in a world war and were wounded in battle.
Yeah,
and both suffered from substance abuse. Ed Wood with the alcoholism,
yes,
and Bella with the heroin.
How did he get addicted to that in the first place? I guess through the war. Or from painkillers, from injuries?
Are you talking about Bella?
Yeah.
Yeah, so the story that I read was that Bella had like an injury of some kind, and it may have been from the war, it may not have been, but
I think a lot of people got addicted to morphine after that.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. It's I think there's been a couple articles out there about the opioid epidemic, and a couple of things that have been cited over and over again is that the over prescription of opioids following any sort of like surgery or injury or something like that, people are given Oxycontin or Percocets or whatever, they become addicted to it. The doctor cuts them off, and they go about their own way trying to figure out how to keep up that addiction. Like they start off by, soliciting other friends, like, "Hey, do you have any Percocets or any spare Oxycontins?" Like, yeah, sure. Like, here you go. And then they run out. They're like, "No, I'm not going to give you any more." And before you know it, they're out there buying heroin from some stranger.
Yeah.
And the type of heroin that's out there nowadays is more pure than probably anything we've ever had in history. So
even worse, actually.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And many deaths. Heroin, it's a scary thing.
Yeah. So real quick. So before we sort of wrap up talking about Plan 9, did you notice any sort of similarity between Criswell's opening and Venkman's portrayal of the psychic, the world of the psychic from Ghostbusters 2?
Oh my God!
Did you see that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, after you telling me that, I see that.
Yeah.
Did you notice that automatically, or did you read about that?
Yeah. No. As soon as I get because actually I read about Ghostbusters 2, trying to figure out trying to see trying to get that solid link that the world of the psychic was directly inspired by Criswell from Plan 9 from Outer Space. It's never ever said, but as soon as I saw Criswell with that backlighting and this just sort of his silhouette,
it's the same as in Ghostbusters 2.
Yeah, and then him pointing to his head and everything like that. I was like, holy shit, it's Venkman, and being from a later generation, kind of having that reverse fucking perception. I saw it, I was like, holy shit, that must be where Bill Murray got the idea about the world of the psychic from Criswell from Plan 9 from Outer Space.
Well, most likely Dan Aykroyd, because Dan Aykroyd wrote Ghostbusters 2.
Yeah, and he was a huge alienophile. I guess that's a fucking word. But he was a huge that dude.
It's actually a really cool word. Alienophile.
Yeah, I guess so.
Cinephile, alienophile.
Yeah. So of course him having the Crystal Skull vodka and everything like that, and being really, really big into UFOs. If you guys have no idea. Listen to the Joe Rogan podcast where he talks to Dan Aykroyd. Holy shit, I didn't realize that dude is that fucking deep with with the aliens, like, and working with SETI and everything like that. Holy shit, like fucking head exploded.
I got to ask you a question.
What's up?
Did you like the movie Coneheads?
Fuck yeah, I did.
Good. Finally, I found somebody that likes that movie. I actually enjoy the fuck out of that movie. I think it's a great comedy.
Yeah. I mean,
fun.
Dude, you should have brought this up during the Tommy Boy episode.
I didn't. I know. Well, that's the thing. I don't think we brought up any of the SNL movies other than I think we brought up Wayne's World, and I think we brought up
we brought up all the stuff that Chris Farley was in, but Chris Farley was in Coneheads, and we never brought that up.
No, I did bring that up.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Yeah, because I remember I told him because when you guys gave me shit about not seeing fucking the movies that Chris Farley starred in, I said, well, I saw Coneheads because I saw that one, and I also saw Wayne's World and Airheads and stuff like that. Coneheads and Airheads. Chris Farley both in a movie that says heads. I just realized that.
Yeah.
That was, never mind. Anyways, back to what we were talking about.
I'm glad you realized that was fucking lame. At the same time, I did.
I'm sorry.
I was like, yeah, dude, they both have heads in the title. That's cool story, bro.
Yeah, shut up.
All right, man. So the movie Ed Wood, I thought that it did a very, very good job of portraying.
Very entertaining.
Yeah, definitely. And I'm like portraying Ed Wood like in a generous light, as I had said before, being in black and white, as like assuming his movies were before. There's a lot of contention about whether or not Bela Lugosi was portrayed accurately, and there's like some reasons for that. Overall, I will say that Ed Wood was way too fucking long. It was 2 hours and 4 minutes. But it has a lot of classic.
Oh, come on. I actually don't mind the length at all. I think it moves pretty fast for what it is.
Yeah, cool, man. I don't have anything I need to do with my life or anything like that. I don't have any responsibilities. But it's just it was really, really long. And it probably could have been a little shorter, especially being that this was a movie that was effectively a comedy about an actor whose work was so bad that it was funny.
Yeah. Well, Ed Wood was also written by Scott Alexander, and he's actually well known for doing great biopics. He also wrote Man on the Moon.
Oh, no shit.
Yes,
dude, I fucking love that movie.
The People versus Larry Flint.
Yes.
Yeah, he wrote that one. I mean, he's good for biopics and stuff like that. So I thought that they pulled it off because he did a lot of the research and everything. I thought they did a great job in writing the dialogue and everything that went through. And it had great comedy. And the fact that the movie is in black and white makes it even better. I cannot see that movie being in color. The fact that it's black and white makes it so much better.
Yeah, and the fact that they even made fun of themselves or kind of pointed out the fact the movie film is in black and white. I think it was a scene where Sarah Jessica Parker was just like, oh, should I? She grabs some stagehand. She's like, oh, should I wear this dress or this dress? And he's like,
I don't know. I'm colorblind.
Well, what's the difference? And she's like, well, one's red and one's green. And he's like, I can't tell the difference, and neither can the fucking audience because it's in gray or black and white. And he's like, yeah, I can't see either color. I just see in gray. Like it was kind of funny to see them kind of make fun of themselves shooting this film in black and white.
Yeah, and believe it or not, the movie won an Oscar for best makeup.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Well, no, I get that because I read something about Martin Landau and how he kind of talked about how his features and his mannerisms were very, very different from Bela, and it was actually a lot of work to get himself to act and look like Bela Lugosi, and so I can definitely see that. And apparently, didn't they bring in Rick Baker
Yes. Rick Baker?
Was it Rick Baker?
I believe so.
I can't remember if it was Rick Baker or if it was Stan Winston.
Yes, Rick Baker did do Ed Wood, and he's also done he's done a lot of Tim Burton's films, actually. He's done most of Tim Burton's films, but the thing I love the most about it is Martin Landau. I thought he pulled off Bela Lugosi perfect.
Yes.
Fucking perfect.
No one gives two fucks for Bela.
Oh, my God.
That's fucking great.
There is a scene in Ed Wood that I laugh out loud every single time I watch it. In fact, I'm going to play it for you guys today. Here, check this out.
Mr. Lugosi, I know you're very busy, but can I have your autograph?
Certainly.
You know which movie of yours I love, Mr. Lugosi? The Invisible Ray. You were great as Karloff's sidekick.
Karloff? Sidekick? Fuck you! Karloff does not deserve to smell my shit! That limey cocksucker can rot in hell for all I care!
What happened?
How dare that asshole bring up Karloff? You think it takes talent to play Frankenstein? It's all makeup and grunting.
Bella, I agree 100%. Now, Dracula, that's a role that requires talent.
Of course. Dracula requires presence. It's all in the eyes and the voice and the hand.
That's right. That's right. You seem a little agitated. You want to go outside and get some air?
Bullshit. I'm ready now. Roll the camera.
What did you think of that scene, man?
No, that's legitimately one of the best scenes of the whole fucking
You
movie.
lie me, cocksucker. You could rot in hell for all I care.
I just
God, I love
loses his shit on this fucking this stagehand or whoever he was. Like, oh, sorry, can I get an autograph? You're great as Karloff's sidekick, and he's just like, Karloff, sidekick, fuck you.
Oh man,
it was fucking great, dude.
Yeah, the acting himself is perfect, and he definitely he won an Oscar for that role. He definitely deserved that Oscar for Best Supporting Actor.
Yeah, no, he did fucking well, man. It's so funny, man, that Ed Wood and all of his films being so fucking terrible, and then Tim Burton makes a movie about Ed Wood, and it actually wins an Oscar.
Yeah,
it's just so fucking weird. What'd you think of Bill Murray's portrayal of Bunny, dude?
Hilarious.
You know, credit to Bill Murray, man. Like all of his lines, dude. I don't know how he just didn't crack up every fucking time he delivered a line.
He was very serious too, especially about the whole story in Mexico. Remember when he was trying to go get his sex change?
Yeah, dude. And in the fucking the Baptist pastors is baptizing him, and he's like, do you denounce Satan and all his sins? And he's just like, sure. It's just like, oh man.
No, the funniest scene is when they're in the funeral for Bela Lugosi, and the chiropractor's like trying to show him, oh, look at me, I'm Bela Lugosi, and then you see Bill Murray going on the side, the character saying, why don't you just say say cocksucker, to see what he sounds like.
Yeah. Why don't you call him a cocksucker? But yeah, no. So apparently that was that was something that really kind of irritated the family about Bela Lugosi, is because his funeral was much larger than that. It wasn't just a few people in a room. Apparently Vincent Price showed up, and among some other actors.
Really?
Yeah. And apparently him and Karloff weren't at odds. They weren't enemies. They were actually pretty cool with each other, especially after The Mummy, I think.
Well, like I said, that's it's just over dramatization. It's just stuff that they're trying to make the entertainment of the movie and stuff like that. So they're going to do that.
But yeah, no. Apparently Bela Lugosi and Karloff were actually pretty good friends, especially after The Mummy. So there was really no animosity there. Those guys were actually pretty good friends, or at least very, very cool with each other.
Yeah.
So the whole, even though it was very, very entertaining seeing Bela Lugosi flip the fuck out about Boris Karloff, or being confused for Boris Karloff, or being called his sidekick, even though that was hilarious. It wasn't true, and probably would never ever happen.
Yeah. Well, like I said, it's good comedy though. So overall, here's the last thing I want to talk about this movie, because what do you seriously think? Is this movie worth watching for anybody? I'm talking about the original Plan 9. I'm not talking about the Ed Wood movie. Ed Wood is well worth watching. I think both of us agree on that. But Plan 9 from Outer Space, do you think it's one of those movies that is worth watching? It's worth a look.
Well, what do you think, man? So do you in your opinion, do you think it's worth watching?
Yes, I do, because I believe it's history, to the point that it's gone down as one of the worst movies in history. So people would like to know, well, why is it the worst movie in history? We got to find out why. So you have to have that chance to view it, to have your own opinion. So really, I think that, yes, it is worth watching in that.
Yeah, so I wholeheartedly agree. I think that this movie is definitely worth watching, because here we are 60 years later still talking about it. And even though it's regarded as one of the worst movies ever, perhaps it can be a cautionary tale, or it just can be some unintentional entertainment. And this movie was printed onto Blu-ray, which you so graciously let me borrow, and that sort of proves its worth, is that here it is, decades and decades later, it's still worth being printed, and I definitely think that it's worth checking out.
Hey guys, thanks for listening to our podcast, Barrel Age Flicks. We are so excited for the upcoming episodes headed your way, and bonus episodes of The Small Batch, Sammy Selects, and now the new Tasting Room. If you like our show, please spread the word, give us a like, or leave us some kind of review on any of the social media pages. Give us a follow on Instagram, Barrel Flicks, or Facebook, Barrel Age Flicks. Our podcast is available on Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, Anchor, Radio Public, Audible, Pocket Cast, Spotify, CastBox, YouTube, and now Pandora. Please shoot us an email at barrelageflix@gmail.com with comments and movie suggestions for future shows or any other things you'd like to let us know. Credit to Carl Casey at White Bat Audio on YouTube. Man, your music is awesome. We thank you so much for that. It's great. You guys go ahead and check him out. I just want to say thank you so much. We hope to see you guys next week. Thank you so much for listening. See you then.